Peace and love, you magnificent wonders with a spiritual level of being. Nathan here from a spiritual level of being. You have a spiritual level of being. And today we're going to be discussing the Sermon on the Mount, which is a collection of sayings of Jesus, canonical sayings that are in Matthew 5, 6, or 7. The reason why I say canonical, as many would know, being a Gnostic channel, there are many sayings of Jesus, including such as the Gospel of Thomas, which is in the Nag Hammadi library, which has been removed from the Bible, which was rejected. These sayings here are much more a collection of sayings, as these sayings here in Matthew, you'll find that have been stolen from the Gospel of Thomas. This is the same for John and even Mark. Now, let us begin. The Sermon on the Mount begins in Matthew 5. Jesus saw the crowds and went up a hill, where he sat down. His disciples gathered round him, and he began to teach them. True happiness. Happy are those who know they are spiritually poor. The kingdom of heaven belongs to them. Now, this is a reference to the Essenes, the Nazarenes, the Ebionites, the poor ones. Now, Jesus belonged to the community of the Essenes, which there were many different varieties of Essenes. Now, these Essenes were big on vows of poverty, fasting out in the wilderness, praying and meditating. Happy are those who mourn. God will comfort them. Happy are those who are humble. They will receive what God has promised. Happy are those whose greatest desire is to do what God requires. God will satisfy them fully. Happy are those who are merciful to others. God will be merciful to them. Happy are the pure in heart. They will see God. Happy are those who work for peace. God will call them his children. Happy are those who are persecuted, because they do what God requires. The kingdom of heaven belongs to them. Now, who were the ones being persecuted? The Essenes were persecuted amongst other classes of Judaism. They were considered outcast, but they were one of the major factions of Judaism. One of the beginning classes, or I should say, one of the beginnings or the attributes of the beginnings of Judaism. Now, with all this being, happy are those with the greatest desire is to do what God requires. So this means unconditional love. So all this sort of saying is about God being happy with you, with doing what you do. So this being said, you're in a God. So God being all existence itself. So wherever there's another person, there's an opportunity for kindness, as you're also being kind to a reflection of yourself. So all life is connected. Happy are you when people insult you and persecute you and tell you all kinds of evil lies against you, because you are my followers. So, persecuting. They were persecuting Jesus' followers. And this later on went on with the Gnostics, as the Catholic and Orthodox Church, the Roman Church, were persecuting the Gnostics, the Essenes, the Ebionites. They were burning them. They were also burning and destroying their writings. They were hunting them down with the use of heresy hunters. Now, the Gnostics were trying to be like Christ themselves. So this is also where the phrase Christians come from. The followers of Christ, being like Christ themselves, the inner Christ. It's just later it's been changed with a dogmatic view, with leaving you with out your own inner connection to God. So about following someone else's path instead. Now, the people about telling lies against you and telling lies about them, this would be the Romans, the Catholics and Orthodox, which would be lying about the Gnostics, editing the Bible, choosing what was in it, editing certain text. Be happy and glad, for a great reward is kept for you in heaven. This is how the prophets who lived before you were persecuted. So people that encouraged free thought, free thinking, were often persecuted. People were often discussing maths. Philosophy and science were often hated by the political powers because they were waking people up. They didn't want you to be on your own personal path to the divine, to achieve your inner Christ. This is one reason they had Jesus ascending to heaven, as they would have seen all these people achieving the end of Christ being a nuisance. So stopping their control. Salt and light. You are like salt for all mankind. But if salt loses its saltiness, there is no way to make it salty again. It has become worthless, so it is thrown out and people trample on it. So this is also your animalistic nature. So you're discarding it, trampling on it. So you are now in control of your own thoughts, your actions. You've discovered yourself. You truly know yourself. You've learnt the language of unconditional love. And you discard this unnecessary knowledge that holds you back. Useless knowledge that you no longer need to hold on to. Limited beliefs you no longer need to hold on to. So letting it go. Trampling over it. So the rebirth of the new you. You are like a light for the whole world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. So this is stolen from the Gnostics. And you are like the light. So you carry the light. You are like the perfect day because, why? You make the day perfect. The light is within you. We all carry the light. We are all the children of light. And this is one reason why I say it can't be hidden. So you are who you are. When you truly love yourself and you love others and you know what it is to be unconditional love, you can't hide this. You are who you are. You're going to embrace it and help others. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a bowl. Instead, he puts it on the lampstand, where it gives light for everyone in the house. In the same way, your light must shine before people, so that they will see the good things you do and praise your Father in heaven. So we're all the sons and daughters of the living Father. And with doing good things, you're also inspiring other people to do good things. So good actions rise with good actions and encourage others to do good actions. This bit here is again taken from the Nag Hammadi, the Gospel of Thomas. Teaching about the law. Do not think that I have come to do away with the law of Moses and the teachings of the prophets. I have not come to do away with them, but to make their teachings come true. So, Jesus had many different types of Jews following him. He had Zealot Jews, Syriac Jews, Essene Jews, which were vast amounts of different varieties of Essene Jews. He also had Kabbalah Jews following him, as Jesus and John the Baptist both learnt the Kabbalah. He had mystic Jews following him too. So this is one reason he said, particularly for the Zealot Jews, that he's not here to do away with their laws, but make them come true. So he understood them symbolically, so about the inner God, that you are God. So he come to have them realise it themselves, to realise their own divinity. Remember that as long as heaven and earth last, not the least point, nor the smallest detail of the law will be done away with, not until the end of all things. So this is another thing about with the law. This is like cosmic law, law of attraction, law of nature. So all this will exist until all things die. There's no existence, basically. It will continue on. So life supports life. Now, again, this is why he's saying he's not here to get rid of these laws. He doesn't want to get rid of the laws of man. He doesn't want to here to get rid of the laws of nature. Rather, he's here to show your inner divinity, Christ within you. So then, whoever disobeys even the least important of the commandments and teaches others to do the same will be least in the kingdom of heaven. On the other hand, whoever obeys the law and teaches others to do the same will be great in the kingdom of heaven. I tell you then that you will be able to enter the kingdom of heaven only if you are more faithful than the teachers of the law and the Pharisees in doing what God requires. So the Pharisees were corrupt. So he was saying about don't listen to these people. They're leading people astray. So if you're doing good things and encouraging people to do good things, everything will be good. So you're showing unconditional love. Now, this is when, if a blind man follows another blind man or leads another blind man, they both fall into a pitch. So unawareness. So people are in a herd mentality, simply follow the leader. So this is about looking from within yourself and encouraging others to do the same. Teaching about anger. You have heard that people were told in the past, do not commit murder. Anyone who does will be brought to trial. But now I tell you, whoever is angry with his brother will be brought to trial. Whoever calls his brother, you good for nothing, will be brought before the council. And whoever calls his brother a worthless fool will be in danger of going to the fire of hell. So if you are about to offer your gift to God at the altar, and there you remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. Go at once and make peace with your brother, and then come back and offer your gift to God. Now this is about forgiveness. So this way this burden or this aggression is no longer storing in your heart. So it's about forgiving your brother, your neighbour, and a part of yourself. And if you kill someone else, you're killing a part of yourself. You're killing a part of your humanity. Now, with forgiveness and making it right before you make your offering to God, this is also about your inner God. God is all life itself, omnipresent. So this is all life itself. So essentially, you're angry at another part of yourself, a reflection of yourself. So forgiveness. How do you expect to be forgiven if you can't forgive? If someone brings a lawsuit against you and takes you to court, settle the dispute with him while there is time before you get to court. Once you are there, he will hand you over to the judge, who will hand you over to the police, and you will be put in jail. There you will stay, I tell you, until you pay the last penny of your fine. So it's better to sort things before they get out of hand. So when we do aggressive, destructive deeds, it can land us in prison, but not just in prison, but imprisonment within our mind. So this is about forgiving, so they're no longer storing in your heart. So you haven't got this aggression storing there anymore. So it doesn't mean ringing up the person or telling them that you're right or they're wrong. It means simply forgiving, letting it go. Now, we can often be imprisoned by our own thoughts and be controlled by our thoughts when we can damn well control how we react to them. So this is about being the self-master, the master of your life, not a prisoner of your life. Teaching about adultery. You have heard that it was said, do not commit adultery. But now I tell you, anyone who looks at a woman and wants to possess her is guilty of committing adultery with her in his heart. So this is about possession. If you see a beautiful flower, if you pluck it, you've ended that flower's life. You want to own it. It's not love. So if you see a beautiful woman, you're desiring her as property. So she's a human being. It's okay to admire, then you move on. Now, people confuse love with jealousy and love with possession. Love is unconditional. So if your right eye causes you to sin, take it out and throw it away. It is much better for you to lose a part of your body than to have your whole body thrown into hell. So people that are self-destructive live in a hellish existence. So the quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Now, with seeing with the eye and throwing it out, what you see is what you become. What you eat, essentially, is what you are. So what we see every day, we become it. What we discuss every day, what we study, what we're looking into, what we're doing. This affects our livelihood, who we are. It impacts us. So it's better to be observant of oneself. And if you're doing the shitty things that are self-destructive, cast it out. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is much better for you to lose one of your limbs than your whole body to go into hell. It's about the whole sort of thing again, with hell being a mindset. So, this being said, heaven is also a mindset, but we are also the kingdom of heaven, so we can make this kingdom of heaven here on this earth. Many people choose to be detached from themselves, detached from nature, detached from society, and they're in their self-woes and miseries. Many people distract themselves until they die. They don't observe themselves or observe their thoughts. They don't observe their surroundings, their actions. Teaching about divorce. It was also said anyone who divorces his wife must give her a written notice of divorce. But now I tell you, if a man divorces his wife, even though she has not been unfaithful, then he is guilty of making her commit adultery. If she marries again, and the man who marries her commits adultery also. Now, this is about many different things. Symbolically, divorce from oneself, divorce from your partner, your other half. You're making a sacred vow. You have now become one in a sense. So the masculine and femme, the creators, as so above, so below. Another thing is, back in these days when women were divorced, they were usually left by themselves to be expected to be taken care of by their families. They weren't really meant to remarry unless they were of noble birth. It was rare that commoners remarried. They usually spent the rest of their lives devoted to the temple. So this being said, the man could move on. So you've basically condemned her to a life of judgment. So it has many meanings on this as well. As I said, with the divorce of oneself, separation from heart and mind, separation from nature, separation from God, separation from oneself. Teaching about vows. You have also heard that people were told in the past, do not break your promise, but do what you have vowed to the Lord to do so. But now I tell you, do not use any vow when you make a promise. Do not swear by heaven, because it is God's throne, nor by earth, because it is the resting place for his feet, not by Jerusalem, because it is his city of the great king. Do not even swear by your head, because you cannot make a single hair white or black. Just say yes or no. Anything else you say comes from the evil one. So this also being caught in the act of tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do this, and it never comes. Now, another thing is to not make these vows just in case you aren't able to fulfill them. Because in a sense, you're not just lying to others, you're lying to yourself. You're in a God. And lying, stress, can also cause ulcers, can kill us. And destroy our lives. Teaching about revenge. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But now I tell you, do not take revenge on someone who wrongs you. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, let him slap your left cheek too. And if someone takes you to court to sue you for your shirt, let him have your coat as well. And if one of the occupation troops force you to carry his pack 1 kilometre, carry it 2 kilometres. When someone asks you for something, give it to him. When someone wants to borrow something, lend it to him. So Yahweh was big on a tooth for a tooth. And this is also a reference of the evil one as condemning people to be stoned to death. Now, Jesus was he was big for the acts of forgiveness, forgiving others. So he's simply saying, do not seek revenge. Do not retaliate. Move on. It's okay to defend yourself. Do not let them slap you, But if that case happens and they slap you, turn another cheek. Don't have to retaliate. So you walk away. This is what this actually means. So another bit of this is unconditional love, where if someone needs your help, you help them. You help others along the way. But also, not being a participator in the shitty acts of the world. So, spreading love. Your good actions give rise to good actions in others. Love for enemies. You have heard that it was said, love your friends, hate your enemies. But now I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may become the sons of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun to shine on bad and good people alike, and gives rain to those who do good and to those who do evil. Now, this means God is within everyone, good or bad. Out of the darkness comes the light. So Christ is within everyone. So old gods, or particularly war gods, would be pretty much in their dogma, would have to go to war with anyone who opposes this religion, Yahweh particularly. He says, stone anyone who blasphemes against him, go to war with other nations that don't worship him. Now, the goodness is within all of us, even within bad people. No one's truly 100% evil. There's always some sort of good, some sort of love for someone else or themselves. Now, this being said, we all live in this planet together. We live in this shared reality, if you will. It rains for all of us. It's dry for all of us. It snows in certain places of the world. Everyone's impacted by that snow in that region, etc. So, when you're praying for those who are persecuting you, you're praying for those who are unaware, who are detached from themselves, detached from nature, afraid to ask questions, told not to, not thinking for themselves. So they don't actually understand themselves, they don't know themselves, they don't love themselves, otherwise they would love others, they wouldn't harm others. Why should God reward you if you love only the people who love you? Even the tax collectors do that. And if you speak only to your friends, have you done anything out of the ordinary? Even the pagans do that. You must be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. So, this is about the perfect man. You're in a Christ, though it's not forever. It may be temporary. You do an action that is above yourself, that is good for others. So you're in a Christ, you're in a God. Your good actions is your inner God. So your good thoughts, your good consciousness. God is consciousness, it's within all life itself. So, why be ordinary? If you can't do great things, do small things great, but be yourself. Don't just follow the sheep. You're extraordinary. The divine spark is within you. We are all one with God. God is you, we are all God. Teaching about charity. Make certain you do not perform your religious duties in public, so that people will see what you do. If you do these things publicly, you will not have any reward from your Father in heaven. So this is about being in silent, your own time. So when Catholics go seek a priest to go confess their sins, you don't need to do this. It's within you. Your own personal path to God, your own relationship to God, divine. So other people do it for praise for others, simply seeking rewards. Where if you're going to do good, you do good for being good, for no ulterior motives, just to enlighten others. Because essentially, they're a part of you, as you're a part of humanity. You are humanity. So when you give something to someone, when you give something to a needy person, do not make a big show of it, as the hypocrites do, in the houses of worship and on the streets. They do it so that people will praise them. I assure you that they have already been paid in full. But when you help a needy person, do it in such a way that even your closest friend will not know about it. Then it will be a private matter, and your Father, who sees what you do in private, will reward you. So again, this is about not doing things for ulterior motives. So these people just seeking reward and praise, they've got their payment. So basically, this is about spiritual wealth, wealth from within. So your divine spark, giving rise to others. So awareness, knowing yourself. The act of unconditional love, being your inner Christ, on your own personal path, helping others along the way. Another thing I want to add, this is also about your own personal relationship with God, your own personal relationship with the divine, your inner God, the divine spark within you, the Holy Spirit within you. Teaching about prayer. When you pray, do not be like the hypocrites. They love to stand up and pray in their houses of worship and on the street corners, so that everyone will see them. I assure you that they have already been paid in full. So these is, again, people that want to pray out in public out loud so everyone can hear them, so they seem self-righteous. This also goes to the preachers you see in a street corner pushing their ideals on everyone and getting angry at people who don't agree with them. They're out for fame or to seem like they're correct, that they're right. They want to be right. So that's their payment. They're doing what they want. So they're not doing it for the right reasons, basically. But when you pray, go to your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what you do in private will reward you. So this is about your own personal relationship with the divine. So prayer alone is your own personal path. So God is unknowable. It's knowable for you, not through someone else. When you pray, do not use a lot of meaningless words, as the pagans do, who think that God will hear them, because their prayers are long. Do not be like them. Your Father already knows what you need before you ask him. This then is how you should pray. Now, with the words, it's about God within you. Your inner God knows what you truly want. It's you. It's all life itself. As God is omnipresent everywhere at once, this inclines that God is all existence itself, all life, life supporting life. So a never-ending cycle, continuous. Your soul is eternal. Your mind is eternal. You're not a body, you're a mathematical living mind. So you don't have to be all complicated. You just got to speak from your heart. Our Father in heaven, may your holy name be honoured. May your kingdom come. May your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today the food we need. Forgive us the wrongs we have done, as we forgive the wrongs that others have done to us. Do not bring us to hard testing, but keep us safe from the evil one. If you forgive others the wrongs they have done to you, your Father in heaven will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, then your Father will not forgive the wrongs you have done. So again, this is about forgiveness. So how are you going to forgive yourself if you can't forgive others? How are you going to forgive others if you can't forgive yourself? How are others going to forgive you if you can't forgive them? Now, with your will being done as it is on earth as it is in heaven, this is your inner spark, law of manifestation to you. So when you're asking for prayers, act as if you've already been given them. So it's attracting to you. So you're one with God. You're one with the source. So law of attraction can work negatively or positively. So the quality of your thoughts depends on the quality of, the quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So you are what you attract. And about the evil one, this is also a reflection to Yadabaoth, Demiurge, Archons, evil emotions within us. So we are both good and evil. We are angelic and demons. So hell and heaven being reality of the mind. Teaching about fasting. And when you fast, do not put on a sad face as the hypocrites do. They neglect their appearances so that everyone will see that they are fasting. So when you're fasting, it's done for spiritual purposes. Some cases it's done to heal sicknesses, to seek answers from within yourself. So don't act like you're suffering because you have to do it. So fast because you want to. Fasting can also be dangerous if not done correctly. I assure you that they have already been paid in full. When you go without water, so when you go without food, wash your face and comb your hair, so that others cannot know that you are fasting. Only your Father who is unseen will know, and your Father who sees what you do in private will reward you. So again, this is about, you can say, yeah, I'm fasting, and someone offers you something to eat. It's fine. But it's talking about not going around bragging it out, boasting about how good you are and all this sort of stuff. It's your own time. It's your own personal path. So your own personal path to growth and ascension. And when you realise this is your reward. It's a spiritual wealth. Wealth from within. Free thinking, free thought. Discovery, self-discovery. Knowledge, wisdom. Riches in heaven. Do not store up riches for yourselves here on earth, where moths and rust destroy, and robbers break in and steal. Instead, store up riches for yourselves in heaven, where moths and rust cannot destroy, and robbers cannot break in and steal. For your heart will always be where your riches are. So this is about inner wealth, wealth from within, spiritual wealth, love, empathy, compassion, growth, wisdom, knowledge, the love and knowledge you share that you also receive. Now, people store up worldly possessions, but this isn't really going to bring them true happiness, as true happiness comes from within. It's love, experience, meaningful experiences in life, growth, empathy, compassion, feelings towards other people and love towards them and love for yourself. Now, worldly possessions people can steal, but they can't steal what's within. They can't steal your soul. The light of the body. The eyes are like a lamp for the body. If your eyes are sound, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are no good, your body will be in darkness. So if the light in you is darkness, how terribly dark it will be. So it's about the inner goodness. Without your inner goodness and your connection to nature, if you're separate from nature, separate from yourself, separate from society, you're going to be in darkness, poverty. If you don't know yourself, you're going to be in poverty. So the mind is a treasure. Coming to know yourself. Self-discovery, love for others, love for yourself, love for this planet, love for this universe, seeking meaningful experiences in order to grow. If you're not able to do this, you're not going to grow. You're going to be living in poverty. You're going to have plenty of stuff you're going to have to learn. Most people distract themselves until they die without examining oneself, not understanding their level of being, their ascension or descension. So everyone carries within the light. And if they separate their goodness from them, they're going to be essentially living in ignorance, fear, hate, self-destruction. God and possessions. No one can be a slave of two masters. He will hate one and love the other. He will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. So, this being said, God, think about it as all life itself, humanity itself, life itself, the planet, the universe. If you only focus on money, you're not going to be able to serve the greater things in life. You're going to be searching for one thing, but you're not going to be searching from within yourself. You're not going to see the meaningful experiences and growth that you can share with others if you only focus solely on material wealth. Now, this being said, with people that are focused on just money, look at the government. They hardly serve humanity. Some do. But there's a lot more they could do. So, essentially, two masters. They've got the people with the money and they love money more. This is why I tell you not to be worried about the food and drink you need in order to stay alive, or about clothes for your body. After all, isn't life worth more than food? And isn't the body worth more than clothes? Look at the birds flying around. They do not sow seeds, gather a harvest, and put it in barns. Yet your Father in heaven takes care of them. Aren't you worth much more than birds? Can any of you live a bit longer by worrying about it? And why worry about clothes? Look how the wild flowers grow. They do not work or make clothes for themselves. But I tell you that not even a king, Solomon, but I tell you that not even King Solomon, with all his wealth, had clothes as beautiful as one of these flowers. It is God who clothes the wild grass that is here today and gone tomorrow, burnt up in the oven. Won't he be all the more sure to clothe you? How little faith you have. So this is about stop worrying about the little things. Enjoy the little things in life. Understand that these possessions are just here to be used as a tool. They're not actually us. Don't identify with them. So it's like when you use a hammer. Don't identify yourself with the hammer. Don't identify yourself as a tool. You are the mathematical mind that is using this tool for your creation, whichever you're doing, fixing. But essentially, even your ego, it can be used as a tool as your own personal growth, as a way to inspire your growth. So do not start worrying, where will my food come from, or my drink, or my clothes? These are things the pagans are always concerned about. Your Father in heaven knows that you need all these things. Instead, be concerned about everything else, with the kingdom of God, and with what requires of you, and he will provide you with all these other things. So do not worry about tomorrow. It will have enough worries of its own. There is no need to add to the troubles each day brings. This is about letting go of stress. So stress essentially also kills us. Don't worry about material possessions. Worry about your growth, ascension, personal, meaningful experiences in order for you to grow. Focus on love, compassion, empathy, helping others, growing, essentially discovering yourself, who you truly are, with meaningful experiences. Judging others. Do not judge others so that God will not judge you, for God will judge you in the same way as you judge others, and he will apply to you the same rules you apply to others. So again, all life is connected. So you might be judging this person out of a particular habit or a personal subject that they like to discuss. You yourself may also be doing the same thing, just in a different way, and thus you're hating this person for a similar thing that you're doing. Now, another thing is, we judge others before we even judge our own self. Before we even observe ourselves, we are mostly observing the state of others. And also, the most judgmental person in life that most humans are judgmental of is our own selves. So, do you put yourself down? Instead of doing this, raise yourself up. When you have a family member that makes a mistake, do you put them down or you try and lift them back up? Do this to you as well. Inspire yourself. Inspire others. Why then do you look at the speck in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the log in your own eye? How dare you say to your brother, please let me take that speck out of your eye, when you have a log in your own eye, you hypocrite. First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will be able to see clearly, to then take the speck out of your brother's eye. So again, this is about you judging others. You might have this same particular habit in a different way as this other person that you're judging. This could be towards a loved one, a friend. You wanting them to grow the way that you want to grow yourself, where they have to have their own experience. Or you simply wanting to follow your path, to not ask questions, to do exactly as you do. So again, this is about possession. This is not what we want. Now, again, when you truly come to understand yourself, and you've been through similar circumstances, you can truly give better advice. People are often hypocritical. They give advice but don't listen to their own words. They don't follow their own path that they're trying to lead others down. Do not give what is holy to dogs. They will only turn and attack you. Do not throw your pearls in front of pigs. They will only trample them underfoot. Now, this is about the spiritual knowledge. The masses would trample on this, the ones in charge. They didn't want to encourage free thinking. So again, this was about the Gnostics. So about being careful with the knowledge that you share, as some people aren't ready for it and will attack you over this, as they are in a state of ignorance. They don't know themselves, they don't understand others, let alone they don't understand the world around them. They've only understand it in a way that they're being told not to question. Another thing I want to add, this also refers to as giving love or doing good deeds for those that don't deserve it. If they don't accept your love and they return it with nastiness, move on, find someone else. It's okay to love the soul. We all should love the soul regardless. It's okay to dislike the deed or hate the deed. But regardless, you always love the soul as it's a part of you, as all life is connected. Ask, seek, knock. Ask and you will receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks will receive, and anyone who seeks will find, and the door will be open to him who knocks. Would any of you who are fathers give your son a stone when he asks for bread? Or would you give him a snake when he asks for a fish? Bad as you are, you know how to give good things to your children. How much more then will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? So again, this is about doing good things to others and giving rise to good actions in others. So the way you love children, how hard is it to go love someone else or to show kindness to someone else? Wherever there's another person, there's an opportunity for kindness. And asking and receiving, again, this goes to the law of manifestation. So if you're a positive person, you're going to attract positive things in your life, though suffering is universal. So it's just when you do suffer, you're going to be able to rise back up from it. Do for others what you want them to do to you. This is the meaning of the law of Moses and of the teachings of the prophets. So treat others how you want to be treated. Wherever there's another person, there's an opportunity for kindness. So your good actions give rise to good actions in others. So this, in a sense, is also working with manifestation, as you're bringing goodness to the world through you, as you are the world, the way you see the world. It's a part of your consciousness. The narrow gate. Go in through the narrow gate, because the gate to hell is wide, and the road that leads to it is easy, and there are many who travel it. But the gate to life is narrow, and the way that leads to it is hard, and there are few people who find it. So this is about love and compassion, being kind to others, finding and seeking knowledge, growth. It isn't really done by the mass public. You see, esoteric knowledge is only for those few that will understand it. Exoteric is knowledge for basically the masses to understand. So, this being said, the gate to true heaven is smaller than the gate to hell. So most people just basically follow the herd, are seeking, lustful, not in control of their actions, not in control of their emotions, not in control of their thoughts, not able to put positive thoughts in them into their own mind. Do not be able to observe in a state of unawareness, detachment from themselves, detachment from nature. Now, this road is easy to travel, but the road to growth requires work, inner work, and sometimes this can be hard. So this is why the road to heaven is smaller than the road to hell. It's narrower. As it's easy to be a pig, it's easy to be a drunkard. It's harder to do the inner work and to really try and make a difference in the world. A tree and its fruit. Be on your guard against false prophets. They come to you looking like sheep on the outside, but on the inside they are really like wild wolves. You will know them by what they do. Thorn bushes do not bear grapes, and briars do not bear figs. Briars do not bear figs. A healthy tree bears good fruit, but a poor tree bears bad fruit. A healthy tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a poor tree cannot bear good fruit. And any tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Now, this meaning is the good actions. A positive person is going to bring positive things to others. Is going to give positive things. A negative person, a hateful person, is nothing positive to give, so they're bearing bad fruit. So it's best to be discarded. So to start doing the inner work, progressing yourself, finding the answers of love, compassion, empathy that is within you. And these prophets are like these church leaders. They all tell you to follow their particular way. The Pharisees were very, very corrupt in this day and age. So were the religious leaders. They're saying, don't follow these people. They're simply just out for fame and wealth to mislead the public. Now, not everyone who calls... Actually, I should start with the title here. I never knew you. Not everyone who calls me Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only those who do what my Father in heaven wants them to do. When judgment day comes, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, in your name we spoke God's message. By your name we drove out many demons and performed many miracles. Then I will say to them, I never knew you. Get away from me, you wicked people. So this is ones that were misleading Jesus' words, that were going around killing people, burning people in Jesus' name, in God's name, throughout the centuries. And even before his time, people killing other people in God's name. So he's saying these people know nothing of divine will. They're simply acting by human means. So again, this would be pointed towards Gnostics that were persecuted. So these people that were non-violent, vegetarians, peaceful communities, were hunted down and killed. They had lies made up straight up about them. They called them baby eaters. This is not true. This was propaganda made up by the Catholic and Orthodox Church, which is out to mislead you for the sake of power, just like the Pharisees were. The two house builders. So then, anyone who hears these words of mine and obeys them is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. The rain poured down, the rivers overflowed, and the wind blew hard against that house. But it did not fall, because it was built on a rock. So, it's about your true self. Your inner Christ. Once you've retrieved your inner Christ, your inner God, your divine spark, you know who you are, and you're on a path of self-love, unconditional love for others. No one's going to be able to tear this away. So no one's going to be able to take it away from you. You're always going to be on the path of growth. You're always going to bounce back up. They aren't able to take your soul from you. So, this being said, the light and love always outweighs the darkness. But anyone who hears these words of mine and does not obey them is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain poured down, the rivers overflowed, the wind blew hard against that house, and it fell. And what a terrible fall that was. So it was about dissension there. So if you don't come to know yourselves, you're not doing the inner work, you're going to be going downhill. You're going to be attracting the worst. Living in hell, living in your own poverty. Where if you come to know yourself, you're living in heaven. You become a better person. You're living a better quality experience. And you're having better quality thoughts. The authority of Jesus. When Jesus finished saying these things, the crowd was amazed at the way he taught. He wasn't like the teachers of the law. Instead, he taught with authority. So Jesus had many different followers. He had the Greeks follow him, Zoroastrians follow him, different types of Israelites. He had Syriac Jews, Pharisaic Jews, the ones who supported the Pharisees, Zealot Jews. He even had Essene Jews following him, multiple different communities of Essenes, Gnostics. Now, this is one reason he was popular, as Zealots only stuck to their crowd. He spoke to everyone, and he wasn't out to diminish their religion. He was out to show them the truths of it, the spiritual teachings inside of it, to understand the deeper meanings. So, that does the Sermon on the Mount, or Sermon on the Mount. Peace and love everyone. I love you all. Connect to one mind and soul. Namaste.